Yechuan was taken to a hospital for evaluation and sent to the psychiatry department due to his strange claim that every living being he saw looked like a pig. The doctor, a confident and provocative woman, questioned him with disbelief. As Yechuan confirmed his distorted perception, she tried to provoke a clearer response by asking directly if she too looked like a pig. He answered without hesitation she did. Her playful attitude turned serious as she tried testing him further. She leaned forward suggestively and asked what he saw now. Yechuan's expression stayed blank, but his response remained unchanged. To him, nothing altered. Her appearance was still that of a pig, and not just one, but two grotesque pig faces seemed to replace her chest, further shocking her. The doctor's amusement shifted into visible concern. Though she initially believed he was insane, she decided to examine his condition thoroughly. Upon checking, she discovered Yechuan's spine was seriously deformed. Unlike a normal person's, his spine twisted in a way that compressed his brain and optic nerves, possibly explaining his delusions. She concluded that surgery was the only option, but the operation was extremely risky. If it failed, he could be paralyzed from the neck down. Yechuan listened silently as the doctor laid out the stakes, processing the seriousness of his condition and the uncertain path ahead. Yechuan stayed quiet after hearing the surgery warning, then calmly asked the doctor to return his spine, as if the problem could be solved instantly. The doctor froze, realizing he didn't fully understand normal medical logic anymore. Still, Yechuan left the hospital without panic, because his bigger fear was not pain, but continuing to see every living thing as a pig. The bus ride to Qingcheng Academy. Yechuan watched the crowded seats and felt suffocated. In his eyes, the passengers all looked like pigs, making every movement and sound feel unbearable. He covered his mouth and tried to stay steady, reminding himself that today was his awakening ceremony. If his illness affected the awakening test, his entire future could collapse before it even started. At the academy gate, a huge blue awakening crystal stood before the crowd, glowing with power and authority. Yechuan entered the ceremony site quietly, hoping to avoid attention, but someone spotted him. A blue-haired girl, Xu Lingshuan, rushed over angrily, acting like she had been waiting a long time. She threatened him for being late and kept demanding a reaction, but Yechuan still saw her as a pig. The closer she got, the more intense the illusion became, twisting her face in his vision. Her shouting drew attention, and classmates whispered while watching them walk together. To others, it looked like a loud couple arguing every day, but Yechuan felt trapped, forced to endure the nightmare while pretending everything was normal. Yechuan tried to ignore the whispers around him, but Xu Lingshuan clung to his arm, acting loudly like they were close. Her attitude made the crowd stare even more. Yet Yechuan forced himself to stay calm because the awakening ceremony was about to begin. When the staff called for everyone to line up by student number, Yechuan finally broke away and moved toward the massive stone platform where the glowing awakening crystal stood. The academy explained the 3 directions that could decide a student's future: strength, spirit, and agility. Yechuan watched as one student after another placed a hand on the crystal and received an awakening result that shaped their career. Several people struggled, only reaching basic professions like intermediate metalworker or junior engineer, and many walked away disappointed or embarrassed. The pressure in the air kept building as stronger students stepped forward. Then a confident red-haired man approached and slammed his palm onto the crystal with overwhelming force. A golden light exploded outward, and the crystal announced a rare awakening. Combat-type profession, Raptor Swordsman. The crowd erupted instantly, shocked by the power and rarity of the result. Even the academy leadership reacted, realizing this student could become someone important. The principal stepped in personally and introduced himself as Lu Jinglong. Showing clear interest in the awakened student, he praised the result, told him to rest, and even promised to visit his home to discuss his future path. The red-haired man accepted confidently, enjoying the attention, while everyone around Yechuan realized a new rising talent had appeared right in front of them. Yechuan was called next, and the noisy crowd immediately focused on him. Xu Lingshuan shouted encouragement from behind, but Yechuan didn't respond much. Principal Liu Jinglong watched closely and noticed something strange. Yechuan's aura felt unusual, and his stats seemed far higher than normal for a new student. Even so, the principal assumed the boy was just an oddball with no real future, especially after earlier rumors about him acting strange. When Yechuan placed his hands on the awakening crystal, the entire platform shook. Purple lightning surged upward, and then an intense golden light erupted like a storm. The crowd panicked as the energy exploded outward, and Lu Jinglong's confident face turned into pure shock. The crystal confirmed it clearly: divine tier awakening. But the result that appeared was even more unbelievable. Yechuan awakened a life-type profession, divine tier pig butcher. The crowd burst into laughter, mocking the title and calling it useless, even with divine rank. Liu Jinglong felt humiliated, thinking fate was playing with him after waiting years to finally see a divine-tier student. Before anyone could fully understand what happened, a glowing blue system screen appeared only for Yechuan. It showed his identity, level, and special talents. His profession skills included powerful slaughter abilities and a strange passive effect that gave bonus damage to pigs. Yechuan stared at the words in silence, realizing the world itself was responding to his twisted vision. While everyone laughed, Yechuan looked around the ceremony grounds. In his eyes, every face in the crowd was still a pig. The awakening didn't fix his condition at all. Instead, it confirmed something terrifying this world. As he saw it, truly was filled with pigs, and his new path was meant to cut through them all. During the profession awakening ceremony at Qingcheng Academy, Yechuan steps forward. Students gather, mocking him for being just a pig butcher's son. Liu Jinglong, a favored student, becomes the center of attention, while Yechuan's divine level awakening draws ridicule. Xu Lingshuan, a close childhood friend, stands by him, offering quiet support. She reveals that his awakening of the divine pig butcher profession means he's inherited his father's path. Many envy Yechuan's rare profession, but he stays composed. Lingshuan, meanwhile, reminisces about their past. Their families have always been close, and the adults hope the two would grow up together. Her own turn for awakening arrives. She wonders if she'll inherit tailoring or winemaking, but promises to always stay beside Yechuan no matter the outcome. As she approaches the awakening crystal, a powerful energy surges. The crowd reacts with shock as dazzling light envelops her. Her result is far beyond expectations. To everyone's disbelief, Xu Lingshuan awakens a legendary combat profession, the Snow Soul Sword Immortal. Even the elder in charge is stunned, recognizing the rarity and strength of such a role. The entire ceremony shifts. What began with mockery toward Yechuan now ends with both him and Lingshuan revealed as extraordinary individuals, each with a powerful destiny. The ceremony hall erupts as Xu Lingshuan's awakening shocks everyone. She receives the legendary combat profession, Snow Soul Sword Immortal. The elder confirms its rarity and pledges the Academy's full support for her future cultivation. Xu Lingshuan steps down, now the center of admiration. However, whispers spread quickly. One is a pig butcher, the other a legendary combatant. Many begin to question Yechuan's worth beside her, despite the murmurs. Yechuan sincerely congratulates her, but when she calls his name, the mood changes. Lingshuan calmly states that although they shared a close bond, their paths are now different. With her newfound identity, she believes they can no longer walk the same road. The comment stuns Yechuan and draws mocking smiles from nearby students. Trained to keep composure, Yechuan responds casually, but Lingshuan continues, saying he will never achieve anything great as a pig butcher. Her cold words hit hard, though she claims she's only being realistic. The conversation ends as she transforms his face into that of a pig in her mind, symbolically severing ties. Yechuan accepts the outcome without resistance and leaves. Watching him go, Liu Jinglong steps in, mocking Yechuan further and offering to teach him a lesson. Lingshuan doesn't reject him this time. Her silence marks a shift in loyalty. Liu Jinglong, furious after Xu Lingshuan's rejection and Yechuan's indifference, publicly calls him out. His voice echoes through the crowd as he mocks Yechuan and demands he step forward. When Yechuan calmly ignores him, Liu Jinglong rushes in and grabs him. But the moment Yechuan turns, a terrifying aura surges from his body. His eyes glow ominously, and the atmosphere shifts. Suddenly overwhelmed by pressure, Liu Jinglong instinctively retreats. His mind fills with a hallucination. He sees Yechuan as a demonic butcher, standing over him with a knife, and himself as a helpless pig. Fear grips him. The crowd erupts in laughter, mocking the once proud Liu Jinglong as he recoils in panic. Someone rushes over to check on him, but he can barely respond, injured by the humiliation. Liu Jinglong attacks again, throwing a punch at Yechuan. But with a fluid movement, Yechuan catches his arm mid-air. In one clean strike, he delivers a blow that twists Liu Jinglong's arm grotesquely, causing him to collapse, screaming in pain. The onlookers are stunned. Xu Lingshuan and others are speechless. No one understands how a pig butcher could inflict such damage. Yechuan stands calmly, declaring that his divine pig-slaying profession isn't for meat. It's meant for breaking bones. His true strength finally shows. Liu Jinglong, enraged after his defeat, draws his void longsword and charges at Yechuan, determined to kill him. Onlookers panic, realizing the weapon can cut through steel. They believe Yechuan, despite his earlier victory, now stands no chance. As Jinglong lunges, a sudden frost creeps over his body. He's frozen mid-attack. Xu Lingshuan intervenes with her Snow Soul Sword Immortal power, stopping the fight. She steps forward, telling them both to stop. Though she helps Yechuan one last time, she reaffirms they no longer belong in the same world. Her voice is calm but firm. She warns Yechuan that next time she won't interfere if Lu Jinglong seeks revenge again. With that, she walks away, leaving Yechuan alone in the ring. Yechuan brushes off the moment and leaves Qingcheng Academy. Seemingly unfazed, students watching are confused by his attitude, commenting how lightly he takes everything. But just as he reaches the city, a strange figure appears, a large woman with a pig mask and a ferocious boar by her side. She blocks his path, staring him down. The tension returns immediately. Yechuan narrows his eyes, ready for the next challenge. Whatever this new encounter is, it's not normal and clearly not peaceful. As Yechuan walks through the city, a strange woman with a pig mask and her beast block his path. He politely asks her to move, but she responds rudely, accusing him of lacking manners. The encounter escalates quickly. Yechuan, unfazed, states that he has a theory to test. With a swift motion, he strikes down the boar. Like Beast, confirming a system notification, extra damage increased by 1%. His strange ability strengthens when slaying such creatures. The pig, masked woman wails in grief, calling the beast her son and vowing revenge. She charges in fury, but Yechuan coldly declares himself a psychopath and stares her down without fear. Her confidence crumbles and she retreats in terror, convinced he's too dangerous to challenge. Yechuan finally arrives home. His parents greet him warmly, joking about his profession as a pig butcher. His father proudly supports the choice, telling him he's on the right path. That night, Yechuan lies awake, while elsewhere, a dark force watches through the window. It seems someone or something is still monitoring him. Though Yechuan's return appears peaceful, danger lurks in the shadows. His powers are growing, and despite his humble background, others are beginning to take serious interest in his potential. In the darkness outside Yechuan's home, a cloaked figure from a mysterious organization observes quietly. He's shocked that the son of the feared figure Ghost Cry turned out to be nothing more than a pig butcher. The man questions Yi Qinyan, Yechuan's father, but Yi Qinyan coldly warns him not to disturb them again. His red eyes flare and the intruder quickly backs down, assuring the organization won't bother them further. The next morning, Yechuan follows his father to the slaughterhouse. Inside, rows of hanging carcasses and sharp tools set the tone. Yi Qinyan reminds him that a good pig butcher starts with a good knife. Yechuan selects a cleaver that feels natural in his hand. A system notification appears he has officially selected the city slaughter knife and will receive a hidden bonus in the future. His father then explains the art of pig slaughtering. One strike, clean and precise, always aiming for the weak spot as he speaks. A huge wild boar is dragged in, snarling and resisting violently. Yechuan is told to try it himself. He steps forward calmly, gripping the knife tightly. Though it is his first time in the slaughterhouse, a deadly calm surrounds him. Everyone watches, unaware that this ordinary moment marks the start of something far greater. Yechuan swung the pig, slaughtering knife with force, cutting deep into the boar's neck. Blood burst forth as the blade struck true, and a system notification confirmed the kill. His experience and attribute points increased, along with his bonus damage against pig-type enemies. The massive boar collapsed, its eyes wide in shock. His father, observing the scene, praised the strike but noted the missed carotid artery. Yechuan nodded silently. Though it wasn't perfect, it was still a successful kill. His father reminded him that slaughtering pigs may feel dull, but it was their livelihood. Yechuan listened, respecting the weight behind those words, eager to improve. Yechuan asked for permission to handle all the pigs himself. His enthusiasm surprised his father, who laughed proudly and allowed it. As Yechuan continued the slaughter, more system notifications rolled in. His proficiency rose rapidly. He reached level 2, then level 3. By the end of the week, Yechuan had processed 49 pigs. His stats soared and his bonus against pig-type enemies increased significantly. Fellow butchers were stunned by his dedication, whispering that he had done all the work alone. His father chuckled with pride, calling him a divine pig butcher. Yechuan, gripping the blade tightly, acknowledged how natural it now felt. Perhaps he was more than just a butcher, maybe. This was just the beginning. Yechuan decided it was time to step outside the slaughterhouse and explore the real world. With his knife strapped to his back, he set out the next morning beyond the walls of Qingcheng. The world was dangerous, filled with monsters and chaos. The Human Federation had long abandoned separate nations, instead dividing into 9 special districts. Qingcheng sat on the edge of the 5th. Passing through the borderlands, Yechuan received a warning: survival meant adapting quickly or dying. Undeterred, he pressed forward into the forest. A goblin emerged from the shadows, charging recklessly. Yechuan calmly assessed its appearance and chose to test a new skill, Blood Shadow Butcher. His eyes flared red as power surged through him. With a swift motion, Yechuan cut the goblin down, triggering a system notification. Though it wasn't a pig, the system still recognized the kill as a goblin pig, boosting his level and bonus stats. The logic was absurd, but effective. He remembered an old warning seeing one goblin meant more were nearby. Scanning the forest, he saw glowing green eyes appearing in every direction. Holding his blade firm, Yechuan grinned. He was ready for more. The deeper he went, the more he realized. Every kill helped him grow stronger. A swarm of goblins rushed at Yechuan, their screeches echoing through the forest. Unfazed, he moved swiftly, slicing through them with brutal precision. His knife swept in wide arcs, dropping enemies with each strike. Limbs scattered and bodies fell as he tore through their formation, clearing the area within seconds. One goblin stood trembling, watching the massacre unfold. Yechuan stepped closer, taunting it before delivering a final blow. As he advanced, he spotted a cave emitting faint red light, the goblin's lair. Without hesitation, he entered. Inside, chaos erupted again. Goblins tried to flee, but none escaped his blade. The system notification displayed his updated stats. His level had risen significantly, and his bonuses against pigs grew stronger. Deeper in the cave, Yechuan noticed a sealed wooden door. Hearing strange sounds behind it, he broke through. Inside, he found a shocking sight: a girl bound and surrounded by goblins. She was barely conscious, forced to sit helplessly as the monsters circled her. Her eyes met his, desperate and filled with fear. She whispered a faint plea for help. Yechuan's expression turned grim. His grip tightened on the knife. Saving her wasn't part of the plan, but now it was inevitable. The goblins had gone too far. The girl trembled as Yechuan stood before her, his blade raised high. Surrounded by dark energy, his presence alone overwhelmed her. Though she pleaded for her life, Yechuan's face remained cold. Just as she closed her eyes in fear, he swiftly struck not at her, but past her. A burst of light sliced through the air, felling goblins hidden in ambush. Startled screams erupted from the girl, but Yechuan calmly stated that the threat was gone. Goblin corpses lay scattered behind them. The girl, overwhelmed by what had just occurred, threw herself into his arms, claiming she had been nearly assaulted. Her words shook, but Yechuan didn't react emotionally. He simply told her he wasn't there to save her. As she observed the pile of dead goblins, awe spread across her face. She asked if he had done it all alone and guessed he was a combat specialist. Yechuan ignored her flattery and pointed toward the exit. He gave her his name and told her the way back to the city. Despite his instructions, she followed him secretly into the forest. Yechuan quickly noticed and confronted her. His intense gaze caused her to panic, fearing he'd misunderstand. She cried out, explaining she was too afraid to return alone. Yechuan silently stared as she nervously gripped his cleaver, unsure what he would do next. As Yechuan questioned her intent, the girl introduced herself as Xia Nanan. She revealed she entered the forest to find a rare blood moon flower as a birthday gift for her mother, but ended up captured by goblins. Hoping to secure Yechuan's help, she proposed a deal if he helped her find the flower. She would arrange for a master blacksmith in Qingcheng to forge a top-tier knife for him. Yechuan, unimpressed, warned her not to follow him. Frustrated by his cold reaction, Xia Nanan couldn't understand how he could ignore her charm. She then revealed her father's name, Xia Beihai, a well-known warlock and one of Qingcheng's 4 great house patriarchs. That changed Yechuan's expression. Realizing the influence her family held, he considered her offer more seriously. Xia Nanan then showed him a protective amulet from her father, explaining how it saved her from harm, even though the goblins had managed to trap her. Yechuan, now interested in the resources the Xia family could provide, accepted the deal. She handed him a map indicating the blood moon flower's location. However, the map also warned of a dangerous creature guarding at a blood moon. Great Python. Xia Nanan expressed concern, unsure if Yechuan could handle it. Yechuan, however, smiled confidently, excited to finally face such a powerful beast. Xia Nanan, still unsure about Yechuan's thoughts, questioned if he was even listening. His silence made her uneasy, but she reminded herself that someone capable of defeating an entire goblin group alone must be an elite combatant. Yechuan then casually told her to lead the way, flipping the responsibility onto her. Despite her doubts, she followed, conflicted by his strange aura, both dependable and chaotic. As they continued through the forest, they crouched low in the grass. Xia Nanan spotted a silver-horned rhinoceros nearby. She whispered urgently, warning Yechuan that provoking it would be dangerous. According to her, its strength rivaled an 8th-rank apprentice once angered. However, Yechuan stood up without hesitation. Drawing his cleaver, he declared that it couldn't be left alive, startling her. He reasoned that if the beast roamed free, it could kill a villager tomorrow. Before she could argue further, Yechuan rushed toward the beast. In a swift and explosive movement, he leapt into action, dodging the rhino's charge. With one precise strike, his cleaver tore through the creature's defenses. The rhino collapsed from a single blow. Sha Nanin stood frozen, wide-eyed in disbelief. The giant beast, a threat they were supposed to avoid, had been killed instantly. She muttered in shock. Yechuan had taken it down with one strike. Yechuan's system notified a level up to 7th rank apprentice, granting bonus damage against the pig clan. He examined his chipped butcher knife, unsure how much longer it could endure further battles. A curious woman approached from behind, shocked by his strength, and questioned his profession. Without hesitation, Yechuan stated his profession: pig butcher, a life-type occupation rarely seen in battle. She was stunned, unable to believe someone like him could slay a silver-horned rhinoceros alone. Inspecting the broken horn, he calmly explained the rhino's age and their destination's close proximity. They ventured deeper into the woods, sunlight filtering between towering trees above their heads. Elsewhere, instructors led elite trainees through the forest for an ongoing field training mission. Their teacher praised their efforts, commending the group for impressive progress during the exercise. Sudden movement in the forest alarmed the instructor, prompting everyone to prepare for confrontation. Silhouettes emerged from the fog. Yechuan and his companion walking toward the training group. Recognizing them, Yechuan grew uneasy, questioning why these individuals were present here. One student burst out in disbelief, shocked to see Yechuan standing before them. He casually replied that they were simply passing by, brushing off their surprise. The others didn't buy it, sensing there was more behind their unexpected appearance. Pig-faced girl mocked Yechuan, accusing him of following them out of obsession. His glare sharpened, recalling the disgust he felt every time he saw her twisted face. He declared they belonged to different worlds now and warned her to stop interfering. Another student shouted, enraged that Yechuan still dared to show himself after their past. His aura surged as he summoned a sword radiating a threatening purple glow. A companion recognized it as a yellow rank, low-grade, spirit weapon, rare and dangerous. Their instructor confirmed it. Jinglong's strength now matched a 6th rank apprentice with that spirit weapon. The pig girl warned she wouldn't protect Yechuan again, stepping back from the situation. Yechuan calmly asked about the weapon's market value, unfazed by the rising hostility. His companion replied it could sell for hundreds of thousands, stunned by Yechuan's composure. Jinglong burned with resentment, recalling how Yechuan had stolen attention during their last encounter. Determined to reclaim his pride, he charged forward with his blade. Jinglong launched a fierce attack, blade glowing with power, vowing to reclaim the spotlight. Yechuan met the blow without hesitation, brandishing his chipped butcher knife. His swift counter left the crowd stunned, forcing Jinglong to unleash his so-called true strength. Jinglong clashed blades with Yechuan, unleashing powerful strikes, infused with his spirit weapon's energy. Despite his aggression, Yechuan calmly blocked every blow, forcing Jinglong to retreat in frustration. Fueled by rage, Jinglong declared his weapon unmatched, still confident in his advantage. Yechuan dropped his knife, stating he didn't even need it to handle the situation. Jinglong scoffed, assuming arrogance, and prepared to unleash a full-force swing at his opponent. As the blade came down, Yechuan's eyes sharpened, readying a response with his bare hands. In a flash, he dodged and countered, delivering a precise punch to Jinglong's chest. The force sent Jinglong flying, landing violently and knocking the air from his lungs. His allies rushed over in shock, calling out to their injured companion as panic spread. Though dazed, Jinglong insisted he was fine, struggling to stay conscious through sheer willpower. The instructor stared at Yechuan, puzzled by his strength and calm demeanor. He questioned silently had Yechuan already reached the level of a 7th rank apprentice. Yechuan grasped his pig-slaying knife. He admired the weapon briefly, surprised it still looked decent after repeated use in battles. Nearby observers were shocked that Yechuan reached 7th rank apprentice. A white-haired man explained that although ranks are shared, combat types train hard, fight constantly, and master techniques. In contrast, life professions grow faster. Early on, Yechuan advanced simply by butchering pigs daily. A blue-haired woman criticized Yechuan for relying solely on the stat bonuses from his realm. The elder acknowledged it's easier now. Realizing this, a brown-haired man questioned if Yechuan's early gains would become meaningless soon. Yechuan casually prepared to leave, showing little concern for the ongoing discussion around him. The woman accused him of excessive effort just to impress her with his progress. She demanded to know if his desperate pig-hunting spree had been just to gain attention. He bluntly replied their paths diverged. He'd already secured a spot at a major academy. Before tension escalated, another woman interrupted, reminding them Yi Chuan was helping her gather herbs. Annoyed, she scolded them for making up wild assumptions about their unexpected meeting. Two students mocked Yi Chuan, insulting his character and the women around him without restraint. Their words grew filthier, blaming him for having no skills other than charming women quickly. Before they could say more, fists flew. Several people were struck simultaneously with swift, violent blows. Principal Zhao reeled in pain and confusion, unable to understand why he'd been hit as well. The brown-haired girl stood defiantly with Yi Chuan, showing no regret for her sudden outburst. The blue-haired woman stepped forward, enraged and prepared to retaliate with force. If provoked further, Principal Zhao revealed a token, warning her not to act rashly and declaring his identity. Despite the threat, the woman didn't back down until he urgently called for her to stop. He finally recognized her identity. She was a member of the influential Xia family. Zhao addressed her formally, asking why she was present in such a place. Miss Xia responded coldly, criticizing his student's disgraceful behavior and dismissing his authority. Panicked, Zhao bowed and promised to discipline his students upon their return. Miss Xia demanded an apology for Yi Chuan, shocking the blue-haired woman. She realized Miss Xia was the daughter of Xia Beihai, a noble name. Still stunned, she questioned why such a girl would be traveling with Yi Chuan. With visible reluctance, the blue-haired woman apologized to Yi Chuan, her pride clearly wounded. She glared silently, vowing not to forget this humiliation tied to the Xia family name. Meanwhile, Yi Chuan calmly suggested they leave quickly before missing their scheduled transport. A red-haired man shouted from behind, demanding his Qingfeng saber be returned immediately. Yi Chuan dismissed him coldly, daring him to reclaim the weapon if he had the courage. Frustrated and helpless, the man could only curse, swearing revenge with clenched fists. Later, the pair reached a cliff filled with eerie red light and cracked terrain. Miss Xia spotted their destination ahead, warning Yi Chuan to stay alert near the rift. A system notification confirmed his knife's bonus had increased, doubling the energy earned from kills. Curious, Yi Chuan asked about the mysterious items she retrieved from her pouch. She revealed they were Thunderfire pearls, strong enough to injure even powerful cultivators if surprised. They were her last resort, meant to ensure survival when the Blood Moon serpent emerged. Upon reaching a patch of glowing flowers, Yi Chuan scouted the area head alone. He landed among the crimson plants and confirmed the presence of rare blood crystal twin flowers. As excitement grew, Xia's expression suddenly shifted. Something unexpected had caught her attention. From the shadows behind Yi Chuan, a monstrous creature stirred, its crimson eyes glowing with menace. Oblivious at first, Yi Chuan casually examined the rare flower, unaware of the looming threat nearby. The Blood Moon serpent revealed itself fully, but Yi Chuan glanced back and spoke calmly, unfazed. A towering pig-faced monster surfaced from the abyss, crimson eyes pressing overwhelming pressure onto Yi Chuan. Between them, a blood crystal twin flower floated, releasing strange energy that warped the surrounding space. Observing both threat and treasure, Yi Chuan calmly assessed priorities while remaining alert. Suddenly, Yi Chuan turned and sprinted along the cliff, reacting faster than expected. Behind him, the monster charged forward, its destructive aura shattering rock and terrain. At the edge, a young woman stood exposed, unable to retreat as danger closed in. Without hesitation, Yi Chuan leapt across the gap, reaching her as energy surged from his bead. A violent explosion erupted midair, throwing both away from the collapsing cliffs. Smoke cleared to reveal the monster recoiling, momentarily suppressed by the blast. Regaining balance, Yi Chuan quickly checked surroundings while tracking the creature's weakened state. Nearby, the blood crystal twin flower remained unharmed, glowing faintly. Understanding its rare effect, Yi Chuan secured the flower without hesitation. Afterward, Yi Chuan handed one bloom to the rescued woman. Relief showed on her face as she accepted it. Silence returned to the forest, ending a narrow escape and sealing his decision. A towering pig-faced monster rose again, its crimson eyes burning as violent energy surged upward. Standing below, Yi Chuan faced the pressure directly while sensing the threat rapidly intensifying. Nearby, the young woman watched anxiously, realizing the monster's strength far exceeded expectations. Without retreating, Yi Chuan stepped forward, his killing intent sharpening as the battlefield trembled. The monster gathered power, its massive body distorting space as it prepared a lethal strike. Sensing danger, Yi Chuan positioned himself between the creature and the woman. A sudden roar erupted as the monster lunged, jaws opening wide with overwhelming force. Yi Chuan reacted instantly, grabbing the woman and pulling her away from the attack path. The ground shattered behind them as the failed strike tore through rock. Before the monster could recover, Yi Chuan launched himself forward decisively. A single precise slash cut through the creature's head, blood scattering violently. The enormous body collapsed, its power dispersing into the surrounding air. As silence returned, the woman steadied herself, staring at the fallen monster in disbelief. Yi Chuan lowered his blade calm and unshaken after the brutal exchange. With danger ended, both stood amid ruins, aware the path ahead had only grown harsher. After the battle, the young woman rushed forward and tightly embraced Yi Chuan, relieved he survived. Shock crossed her face as she realized how close she had come to being swallowed alive moments earlier. System light flickered beside Yi Chuan, confirming the Blood Moon Python's defeat and his sudden advancement. Soon after, both returned through the city gates, drawing attention from waiting clan members. The woman's father stepped forward anxiously, immediately inspecting her condition. When the blood crystal twin flower appeared, relief replaced worry. Knowing its rarity and value, attention shifted to Yi Chuan as the clan elder carefully observed him in silence. Despite his plain appearance, the elder sensed something unusual about Yi Chuan's presence. Doubts surfaced as the elder reconsidered who could truly kill such a dangerous beast. Recognizing merit, the elder produced a gold ring as a formal reward. Yi Chuan calmly declined, uninterested in wealth or status. Instead, he requested only a pig slaughtering blade, reaffirming his unwavering path. Uncle Zhao inspected Yi Chuan's weapon choice with disbelief, finding the pig slaughtering blade crude and unconventional. Qing Cheng clarified that Yi Chuan sought a spirit weapon, forged by Qing Cheng's finest weapon forger. After consideration, Uncle Zhao accepted responsibility, deciding to handle the request personally. Qing Cheng departed the street with her escort, leaving Yi Chuan standing quietly beside Uncle Zhao. A stern reminder followed, emphasizing discipline and proper conduct while dismissing unnecessary concerns. Yi Chuan stayed composed, reaffirming his sole focus on obtaining a suitable spirit weapon. Walking through a hidden passage, Uncle Zhao explained Master Tai Xin's close relationship with the Xia clan. Arrangements were made for Yi Chuan to visit the forger directly after the elder's return. Far away, violent clashes echoed through the forest as powerful beasts were slain. A horned Lingji demon emerged amid the bloodshed, surveying fallen beasts with cold fury. Hatred settled as she sensed Yi Chuan's presence. Committing his scent to memory, crimson energy surged before she vanished, leaving danger unresolved. Back inside the city, Yi Chuan moved alone, carrying hard-earned beast materials. Entering a beast material shop, he prepared to trade his spoils. The rare silver horned rhino remains drew attention, marking the next stage of his plans. Seeing the rhino horn's value, Yi Chuan calculated its worth against years of pig slaughtering income. Shock spread across his face as the shop revealed an armor far beyond his coin reserves. An alternative formed quickly, leading Yi Chuan to consider direct material exchange instead. Golden, scaled soft armor was presented, its defensive traits and resistance clearly exceeding expectations. Price pressure mounted, forcing Yi Chuan to act decisively rather than retreat empty-handed. With resolve, he placed his yellow-grade low-tier spirit weapon forward for trade. Energy surged as the exchange succeeded, fitting the armor perfectly to Yi Chuan's body. Assessment confirmed its near tailor-made compatibility, hinting at his hidden combat potential. Curiosity followed, drawing attention to Yi Chuan's unusual profession. The answer stunned the shopkeeper as the term pig butcher clashed with her expectations. Confusion lingered, leaving the revelation hanging awkwardly between them. Time shifted as Yi Chuan returned home, carrying a carefully prepared gift. At the Yi family residence, Yi Chuan presented a rare blood crystal twin flower. Surprise turned to suspicion as questions arose over its origin and danger. Yi Chuan explained its discovery calmly, marking another unexpected step forward. Back home, Yi Chuan's mother scolded him gently, stressing danger outside and the family's weakness as pig butchers. Her concern overwhelmed him, forcing a reluctant promise to stay within the city walls. Laughter erupted as Yi Qian praised the moment loudly, drawing attention beyond the courtyard. Uncle Zhao noticed unfamiliar footsteps approaching, sensing trouble behind the sudden interruption. Liu Xing appeared with hostility, accusing Yi Qian of stealing his Jinlong's azure blade. Confusion spread as Yi Qian denied the claim, emphasizing his son's humble profession. Tension spiked when Liu Xing's son identified Yi Chuan directly as the culprit. Accusations escalated as Liu Xing questioned how a pig butcher could even wield such power. Evidence was asserted confidently, forcing the family to confront the claim head-on. Attention shifted toward Yi Chuan as explanations were demanded without delay. He clarified calmly that the blade was taken during a life-threatening encounter. Arguments broke out immediately, revealing deep resentment and disbelief. Pressure mounted as Liu Xing chose to de-escalate for Yi Qian's sake. Shock followed when Yi Chuan admitted the blade had already been sold. Outrage froze the group, marking the conflict's true beginning. A red-haired enforcer confronts Yi Chuan's father aggressively. Calculations are coldly explained as the man insists the price reaches 1 million. Pressure intensifies as the enforcer's presence turns hostile. Reluctantly, Yi Chuan's father agrees to repay the debt. A harsh deadline is imposed. Warning consequences will follow if the money cannot be gathered in time. After leaving, silence follows as the burden of debt weighs heavily on the household. At-home concern spreads when Yi Chuan's mother urges her husband to properly settle matters with his old acquaintance. Yi Chuan steps forward, calmly stating he will handle the situation. His father reassures him, explaining the trouble is not his fault but hopes difficulties won't arise again. Later, Yi Chuan reflects privately, realizing only greater strength and spirit equipment can resolve their crisis. His mother senses something hidden, questioning how such an expensive weapon could suddenly be involved. Understanding secrecy cannot last, Yi Chuan prepares to reveal the truth. Standing before his parents, Yi Chuan admits he is not an ordinary cultivator. Misunderstanding follows as worry replaces shock, leading to awkward assumptions about his personal life. Embarrassment fills the room, but Yi Chuan remains silent, knowing his real secret is far greater. Awkward tension fills the room as Yi Chuan's parents misunderstand his words, reacting with visible confusion and concern. Yi Chuan hurriedly explains his condition. Shock spreads across his parents' faces as the meaning sinks in, replacing embarrassment with alarm. His father suddenly realizes the implication, connecting Yi Chuan's butcher profession with this abnormal perception. A sharp outburst follows as the danger of treating every creature like livestock becomes clear. Yi Chuan responds calmly, showing no hesitation, as if such thinking is completely natural to him. Concern shifts into contemplation when Yi Chuan's mother wonders if this mindset qualifies as combat potential. Agreement comes quickly and Yi Chuan's father decides personal instruction is necessary. That night, father and son leave the house together, heading into the open wilderness. Under the dark sky, Yi Chuan's father explains the importance of strength and self-defense. Listening quietly, Yi Chuan admits the debt pressure and his need to grow stronger fast. A massive blade is drawn, signaling the start of a serious demonstration. Focusing intensely, his father prepares to teach through action, rather than words. 3 overwhelming strikes descend, splitting the night with terrifying force. Yi Chuan watches in stunned silence. Gu Xing calmly names the first strike. The second strike follows immediately. As the falling moon, like force dissipates, Yi Chuan stands frozen, unable to process the overwhelming power. Shock floods Yi Chuan's face while residual energy rains down, proving the technique was no illusion. Gu Xing explains through action, stabilizing himself as warped space slowly returns to normal. With sharp focus, he announces the final strike. Dark energy gathers as Gu Xing unleashes the third technique. The impact explodes outward, carving the ground apart and leaving destruction in its wake. When the light fades, Gu Xing reveals his blade has cracked from repeated use. Without hesitation, he hands the weapon to Yi Chuan, instructing him to continue training. Struggling to lift it, Yi Chuan realizes the blade's true weight reflects years of accumulated mastery. Gu Xing turns away, ending the lesson and leaving Yi Chuan alone with the burden. Determined, Yi Chuan attempts the strike himself, raising the blade with all his strength. His body fails to withstand the force, sending him flying across the grass under the night sky. Watching quietly, Gu Xing acknowledges that one day these 3 strikes may truly belong to his son. Under a purple night sky, Yi Chuan raised his pig-slaughtering knife, sensing falling streaks of hostile force nearby. Channeling strength through his body, he brought the blade down, driving power into the ground beneath him. Strain spread across his face as the attack landed, proving the technique demanded more endurance than expected. Morning light revealed Yi Chuan standing alone on the grass. Exhaustion finally overcame him, forcing his body to drop as the knife slipped toward the earth. Kneeling weakly, he struggled to breathe, showing the cost of pushing beyond his current limits. A violent surge followed, hurling Yi Chuan upward as shattered ground and energy spiraled violently below. Midair, his eyes sharpened, instincts guiding one last controlled motion despite fading strength. The aftermath left scorched earth behind, while his consciousness collapsed completely, Beeping machines filled a quiet hospital room as Yi Chuan lay unconscious beneath white sheets. His mother watched anxiously from the bedside, fear lingering despite stable signs. Across the room, a doctor reviewed data later. The explanation continued with detailed medical observations and unusual fatigue levels. Anger flickered in his mother's eyes as she realized how recklessly he had trained alone. Reports confirmed Yi Chuan had pushed his body through impossible repetition, barely surviving the strain. In the hospital office, Yi Chuan's mother reacted sharply after hearing the extreme details of his overnight training. Medical analysis confirmed his collapse resulted from abnormal endurance use, rather than lasting physical damage overwhelmed by anger and relief. She decided immediate discipline was necessary once he recovered. After the discussion ended, the doctor remained alone, reflecting on Yi Chuan's frightening recovery speed. Returning to the ward, she noticed the bed empty, confirming he had already slipped away unnoticed. Outside, Yi Chuan walked steadily despite fatigue, conserving stamina while reviewing last night's mistakes. While moving through the streets, he remembered the unfinished business of retrieving his reforged knife. Purple streaks descended near tiled rooftops as he approached a familiar workshop district. The Iron Heart Foundry came into view. Inside the forge, a boar-headed blacksmith worked calmly amid sparks and rising heat. Yi Chuan was acknowledged quickly, confirming his identity and the commission left overnight. The blacksmith revealed he completed the blade personally, intrigued by its unusual purpose. A wooden case opened, revealing a compact but refined pig slaughtering knife resting inside. The craftsman explained its ancient materials and high-grade forging, suited for repeated brutal use. Accepting the weapon, Yi Chuan sensed its weight settle perfectly into his hand. Yi Chuan extended his hand as the knife responded, faint light gathering obediently. When his fingers closed around the handle, the weapon lifted effortlessly. Proving its bond recognized him alone. Surprise crossed his face as the weight felt lighter than expected, confirming the blacksmith's explanation was true. Holding the blade up, Yi Chuan carefully examined its edge, noticing refined balance far beyond ordinary butcher tools. Nearby, the boar-headed blacksmith reacted strongly, clearly unsettled by how naturally Yi Chuan wielded it. Asked to name the knife, Yi Chuan hesitated, realizing its identity now depended entirely on his decision. After brief thought, Yi Chuan announced a bold name, causing visible shock within the forge. The blacksmith's expression twisted in disbelief, finding the chosen name far too grand and predictable. Despite criticism, Yi Chuan remained unfazed. Later, Yi Chuan departed the foundry, knife secured at his side as evening shadows stretched outward. While walking the streets, he reviewed recent encounters, resolve hardened in his eyes, knowing the named blade marked the beginning of harsher trials ahead. Purple streaks of spiritual energy tore through the sky, alerting Yi Chuan with rising tension. He stepped forward decisively, sensing incoming danger with sharpened perception. A note clarified that increased spiritual power enhanced one's ability to detect threats early. Yi Chuan turned his head calmly, scanning the area while maintaining composure. A weapon flew rapidly toward him, yet his movement subtly avoided the strike. 3 figures emerged from the shadows, confirming they had been pursuing him. Lu Xing mocked Yi Chuan, surprised he dodged the sneak attack without visible effort. His companions insulted Yi Chuan, assuming he was fleeing the city to escape family burdens. Yi Chuan's system activated the Butcher Blade, revealing it granted bonus attributes for pig kills. He examined the new stats, shocked by the significant attribute increase per kill. Raising the blade confidently, he named it his Dragon Slayer blade. Liu Xing was stunned by the unexpected name. Yi Chuan smirked, confirming the weapon's name without hesitation. His enemies laughed mockingly, dismissing the claim as ridiculous. Facing them alone, Yi Chuan declared he wasn't a dragon slayer, implying something far more dangerous. With glowing red eyes, Yi Chuan revealed his identity, not as a hero but a pig butcher. He held the glowing blade with calm menace, his aura igniting with terrifying energy. Enemies laughed nervously, trying to mock him but clearly unsettled by his presence. In an instant, he slashed the heavy-set attacker with frightening speed and precision. The system displayed a notice, confirming the kill and attribute reward from the Butcher Blade. 2 remaining foes panicked, realizing the fight had turned deadly in seconds. Won screamed about betrayal as Yi Chuan advanced without mercy, blade shining red. System updated again, granting extra damage to pig kind and bonus stats. Lu Xing trembled, shocked he couldn't even see the attack before it landed. The last man turned to flee, declaring himself clever for choosing to escape. Before he could reach safety, he tripped, crashing into the forest floor. Yi Chuan calmly retrieved his blade while the system granted more points. Standing over a defeated enemy, he reminded them they attacked first. His eyes narrowed as he discovered a strange scroll beside the body. Picking it up, he saw the label clearly Skill Scroll. Ye Chuan smiled in surprise, realizing the scroll granted him a bonus beginner skill. The system confirmed acquisition. Shadow Ghost Step, boosting agility by 30% for 30 seconds. Even though basic, he felt pleased free skills meant free power. A sudden movement caught his attention, drawing his gaze into the trees. He watched in silence as a monstrous beast emerged and struck one of the fallen attackers. Its glowing red eyes and menacing form revealed a deadly predator devouring the corpse. Shocked by its unnatural nature, Yi Chuan questioned what kind of creature it was. Multiple beasts gathered, ripping into human bodies with feral hunger. His eyes narrowed. He couldn't ignore monsters that fed on humans. Activating Shadow Ghost Step, Yi Chuan moved with incredible speed toward the beasts. The skill's agility boost let him evade and counter with calculated strikes. After slashing through enemies, he stood calmly, calling it acupuncture with a grin. Ferocious beasts with glowing red eyes emerged from the shadows. Ye Chuan remained trapped between them, both creatures closing in with fangs bared and bloodthirsty intent. Pinned to the ground, he struggled to react as the beast prepared to strike from both sides. Turning his head, Yi Chuan watched one lunge toward him. In a flash, he dodged sideways, narrowly avoiding the swipe while analyzing the beast's movement. A grin formed as he faced the monster directly. He launched upwards, slashing through with immense force as system notifications confirmed a successful critical strike. Another creature roared, wounded and unstable. Power surged again, knocking enemies away while information windows revealed combat results and skill efficiency. At nightfall, Yi Chuan pushed forward, determined to reach the climbing Pond realm before sunrise. Suddenly, a massive rhino-like monster charged down from above, breaking trees and earth in its descent. Shocked by its presence, Yi Chuan recognized the beast's strength but didn't retreat. Declaring his earlier prediction correct, Yi Chuan steadied his grip and focused entirely on the enemy. With precise timing, he leapt high and cleaved the rhino's skull with a deadly counterattack. The system confirmed his kill, awarding experience and progress toward reaching the next cultivation stage. Ye Chuan watched the rhino's corpse crash down. Turning calmly, he inspected the body once more, sensing that something about it felt strange. Suddenly, the creature rose unnaturally, floating into the air. Confused, Yi Chuan questioned whether the beast had turned into a zombie or been possessed. A giant hand emerged from the shadows, shouting a challenge. The unknown figure dragged Yi Chuan into a mysterious underground space. Inside the cavern, a monstrous insectoid emerged, its glowing eyes locking directly onto Yi Chuan. Without hesitation, Yi Chuan charged forward, channeling energy into a focused mid-air strike. Just before impact, he twisted his body, releasing a powerful slash filled with intent. The true form of the monster revealed itself, gold-plated legs and armored shell glinting ominously in the dark. Realizing it was lined with gold, Yi Chuan's instincts shifted from fear to greed instantly. Roaring with excitement, he launched a reckless attack, determined to strip it of its valuable limbs. As they clashed, Yi Chuan's blade met monstrous claws in a spinning collision of strength. The creature retaliated by hurling him backward, crashing into silk-covered walls of the lair. Caught mid-air by golden limbs, he struggled as the monster wrapped him tightly. Immobilizing his arms, Yi Chuan hit the ground hard, his body paralyzed as green foam dripped from his mouth. Behind him, the monstrous spider loomed as the system displayed his poison condition. Toxins triggered confusion and frenzy. Suddenly, he erupted into a frenzied scream, wild eyes glowing as the poison distorted his mind, despite the madness. Yi Chuan's movements became sharper. He slashed repeatedly, bouncing around the battlefield like a wild beast under toxin-driven strength. The spider retaliated fiercely, but Yi Chuan twisted away. With a mad grin, he yanked the web, lifting himself high above the creature's head. He struck downward with all his strength, preparing to end the fight in a single blow. A devastating impact followed, cracking the spider's back as energy burst across the cavern. Screaming again, he stood victorious while system text confirmed the high-level monster's death. Lightning still surged in his veins, but the threat had finally ended. An hour later, Yi Chuan cooked meat by a fire, exhausted but satisfied. He wondered why he still felt drained, reading the system message about lingering venom. A horned demon woman appeared, praising his skills and casually asking for a share of food. A horned woman approached Yi Chuan, drawn by the scent of his food, her tone playful. With a sly smile, she leaned closer, politely asking if he would share a portion with her. Glowing eyes activated her charm ability, intending to subjugate him with a single gaze. Unfazed, Yi Chuan declined, stating the food wasn't even enough for himself after the hunt. Confused, the woman realized her power had no effect, failing to dominate his will as expected. Her form briefly distorted, revealing a pig-like illusion beneath her charming facade. Trying a new approach, she claimed to seek information rather than food, feigning sincerity. Yachuan casually continued eating, only half listening while she asked about a rare flower. She mentioned it was stolen and her pet was slain, pressing him for the culprit's identity. He panicked, realizing he might be the one responsible for both the theft and the death. Quickly denying involvement, he tried to appear innocent, avoiding her piercing gaze. She stared silently, clearly unconvinced by his awkward laugh and nervous expression. In desperation, he blamed a fabricated, powerful human named Liu Kang for the incident. She pretended to believe him, stating she would go after that person instead. Rage erupted as she attacked Yichuan, having seen through the obvious lie. The demon woman screamed in fury, claiming she remembered Yichuan as the one who tricked her. He panicked, yelling excuses while denying any knowledge of her missing flower or past dealings. With a sinister smile, she summoned black energy and began binding him mid-air with overwhelming force. She threatened to strangle him unless he revealed the flower's location without hesitation. Suddenly, Yichuan's eyes turned red as a skill activated, shifting his presence drastically. Dark energy surged from his body and the woman was bound and pinned in an instant. Recovering swiftly, she offered meat from the gold spider legs as a trade for the flower. Yichuan ran with full speed, refusing her offer and trying to escape her relentless pursuit. He realized escape might be impossible and prepared to use a hidden technique if needed. The demon woman descended rapidly from above, closing the distance between them with terrifying speed. Yichuan fled into the woods, unaware of the giant beast waiting in the shadows. A massive windfire ape appeared, eyes glowing red, blocking his only path forward. The ape roared, launching energy blasts that shattered the ground as it charged. Yichuan dodged while the ape intercepted the demon woman mid-chase with brute strength. Frustrated, she shouted at the beast, demanding it back off and leave her alone. The windfire ape roared and charged with both fists raised, unleashing lightning from its knuckles. The demon woman blocked with her claws, barely stopping the massive creature's assault in midair. She was thrown back by the impact, but quickly recovered and leapt toward the beast again, turning her gaze. The demon woman noticed Yichuan standing silently, energy gathering in his hands. He raised his knife skyward and she realized with shock that he was preparing a special move. Power surged through his body as he activated the secret technique Fallen Star with unwavering focus. While traveling through the forest, Yichuan's group noticed magical energy erupting in the distance. Red beams pierced the air as they spotted two figures in a tense standoff ahead. Alerted by the disturbance, Yichuan and the horned woman locked eyes, both visibly surprised. A towering man, elegant woman, and silent swordsman arrived behind Yichuan, reinforcing his side unexpectedly. The horned demoness grew angry, suspecting she'd been lured into a trap with reinforcements waiting. With a fiery roar, she launched herself skyward, unleashing dark red energy to escape quickly. Yichuan stood silently, watching the fleeing enemy while the others observed him cautiously. The muscular man accused Yichuan of killing a fire ape that escaped their control. Yichuan denied involvement, insisting he was simply passing through at the wrong moment. Fearing a setup, he panicked, knowing his story wouldn't be believed under the current situation. Introducing himself, Yichuan was shocked when the woman invited him to join their alliance. Before he could respond, another man silently approached, watching him with a piercing gaze. Hearing Nine Heavens Alliance left Yichuan stunned, realizing its connection to Gingxiang's top factions. The muscular man explained they were recruiting, and Yichuan's actions proved he had potential. The woman smiled, offering him a role in their next mission, hinting at bigger plans. Yichuan asked about the Flameblade King, confused by the sudden mission goal. The woman was surprised he hadn't heard of one of the top sovereign-ranked beings. She explained the 9 advancement realms and how kings ruled the peak of Sealed Bone Realm. Yichuan learned defeating a realm sovereign allowed one to inherit their title and domain. Excited by the shortcut to power, he quickly agreed to join the Nine Heavens Alliance. His new companion cheered, happy to have recruited another member for their dangerous upcoming mission. The silent swordsman scoffed at Yichuan's enthusiasm, calling him N.A. Fei for underestimating the risk. Nearby, the muscular man began drawing his blade, approaching the massive wind fire ape corpse. Yichuan watched curiously as the man prepared to skin the beast without hesitation. The woman explained they needed the ape's heat-resistant fur to survive Flameblade King's domain. Though they planned to harvest it earlier, they didn't expect the beast to escape mid-battle. Yichuan boldly claimed skinning was his specialty, surprising the woman with his sudden confidence, proudly declaring himself a pro. Yachuan stepped up to the massive ape's body. He leapt onto the corpse, blade in hand, swiftly preparing for the task ahead. With sharp precision, he began carving clean lines across the thick hide with practiced ease. Just 1 minute later, Yichuan had cleanly skinned the wind fire ape with precision. The body lay exposed and hairless, while the intact fur was neatly folded beside him. Both the swordsman and muscular man stared wide-eyed, shouting that his skill was too professional. Miss Zhang watched in awe, questioning if Yichuan was truly a hidden talent. As the team regrouped, she led the others to prepare for the next phase of action. She explained their plan to use the hide to resist heat and proceed toward the Flame Blade King's territory. Suddenly, another group approached under a tense atmosphere, catching Zhang and her team off guard. Recognizing the uniforms, Zhang identified them as members of the rival Thunder Lion Alliance. Their leader stepped forward, calmly requesting she hand over the wind fire ape's hide to their faction. Miss Zhang stood firm, realizing the ambush wasn't coincidence. The enemy leader acknowledged her sharpness, drawing twin blades. A muscular fighter interrupted, leaping in with a roar. One attacker tried negotiation, demanding the windfire ape's hide for safekeeping while he fetched backup. Unexpectedly, the youth tossed the bundled hide into the air and jumped toward it. He landed on it mid-air, his bold move stunning the enemy. Clutching the hide, the youth insisted he'd keep it himself, claiming he skinned the beast personally. Jiang turned her fury toward Jiawan, suspecting betrayal. His silence only fueled her anger. The enemy smirked, mocking the alliance's lack of unity and internal distrust. Jiang accused Jiawan of betrayal, her power rising as frustration boiled over. She shouted, furious he prioritized loot over loyalty during such a critical moment. Jiawan denied the accusation, shifting blame to the newcomer without hesitation. The youth muttered doubt, noting Jiawan didn't even act like a traitor. The hammer wielder struck down swiftly, shouting in fury and catching Jiawan off guard. As Jiawan hit the ground, he confessed. Greed led him to betray them for Thunder Lion's higher reward. Jiawan warned Lord Lei that their plan had nearly failed, realizing time was up. The hammer wielder raised his weapon with fury. Jiawan dodged quickly, mocking his opponent's speed. Lord Lei's aura surged violently as he blocked an incoming attack with lightning power crackling from his blade. With a cold command, he ordered his subordinate to kill the youth and seize the windfire ape's hide. The hammer warrior launched himself forward again. Lady declared his full strength had been prepared for the Nine Heavens Alliance, warning none would escape. Power surged from his men as Jiawan lunged with eerie speed, eyes glowing with malice. He knocked the hammer wielder into the ground with overwhelming force, shaking the battlefield. Now unopposed, Jiawan dashed forward. His target was the boy still holding the hide. He leapt into the air, aiming to strike from above. The youth stood ready. Their clash sent a shockwave through the forest, power bursting from the impact. Another enemy shouted to stop the escape, realizing someone was attempting to flee. Miss Zhang soared through the battlefield, light and flame swirling around her form. She invoked her strength as a first-rank summoner. Jiawan dove from the sky, mocking Jiang for trusting Yichuan. Jing's eyes widened in panic. She screamed a warning. A sinister aura erupted behind Yichuan. A terrifying presence awakened. In a dark void, Jiawan was paralyzed. He saw himself bound. Meanwhile, Yichuan activated a mysterious skill. He moved swiftly, slashing forward while shielding the hide. Jiawan mocked Yichuan's inexperience, but still failed to land a clean strike. His attacks missed narrowly. Yichuan kept the hide secure, dodging with measured steps. Frustrated, Jiawan cursed him for fighting unfairly. Unable to land a decisive blow, another young fighter intervened, grabbing Jiawan and throwing him aside with ease. Jiang observed Yichuan closely. His strength and awareness surpassed expectations for his cultivation level. Her thoughts concluded, only a god-tier combat profession could explain Yichuan's power and precision. Jiang called out for Yichuan's aid, recognizing the Thunder Lion leader's approach. Their ally was caught in a paralyzing electric strike. The Thunder Lion leader grinned. Yichuan remained calm, eyes locked on the enemy. He declared their new priority, take out the Thunder Lion leader. Energy burst from above as a figure descended. The impact shook the ground. A muscular man roared, wrapped in purple lightning. His power surged violently, facing him. A calm man declared the obvious gap in strength. The elder mocked the young man, believing him near death. The boy stood again, eyes burning red. His hand clutched his blade tightly. He activated a hidden class blood shadow, butcher his presence intensifying, causing his opponent to flinch. A red phantom pig emerged, snarling with killing intent. Energy crackled as it loomed behind him. The phantom rushed forward. Its presence disrupted the air, each step accelerating the impending strike. The enemy raised his blade just in time, blocking the slash, though fear had already taken root. The elder's expression shifted. This foe could not be allowed to live. He yelled for retreat, admitting the realm difference was too great to overcome. But escape was denied. The butcher's strike came down with finality. A man was kicked aside violently, his body flung across the ground. He lay still while the butcher stood distant, silent, and unwavering. Watching, the elder clenched his weapon. The youth was no longer someone to underestimate. Clutching his hammer tightly, the warrior chose to stake his life on a final blow. He lunged forward with desperation, hurling his massive weapon down. Golden energy burst forth and the hammer expanded. Descending toward the enemy wrapped in a red aura, crimson lightning swirled violently as the heavy weapon approached. With perfect timing, he parried the strike. The sudden clash froze the attacker in mid-motion. Trapped and overwhelmed, the enemy begged for mercy, reminding him of powerful backers watching. Desperation surfaced as he referenced a captive girl, revealing cruel intentions his group held. The butcher's eyes turned cold. He slashed, sending the enemy flying with explosive force. Spiraling uncontrollably, the man crashed hard into the forest floor below, bloodied. But breathing, the older fighter stared in disbelief. The boy had survived. The younger revealed he faked death, using that moment to plan a counter-anger and resolve replace pain. This had been his calculated opening. The elder acknowledged the boy's instincts far exceeded his realm. Only by feigning weakness had he landed the strike. He was forced to retreat. Before disappearing, he vowed they'd meet again. The boy had earned his mark. The older warrior turned in shock, realizing the enemy had fled before he could react further. The young man collapsed forward. A woman approached from the woods, asking if they were unharmed. The elder praised her judgment, acknowledging the boy's unexpected strength and courage. He explained that the youth had protected them both, even when the threat seemed beyond reason. She questioned how someone with such a low cultivation realm could accomplish so much, her doubts lingering. Elsewhere, a dark aura rose as another figure reached for a weapon, eyes glowing red. One attacker froze, sensing danger as the weapon was raised in silence. Panic filled him as the massive warrior stepped forward, gaze locked and deadly. The man pleaded for his life, claiming desperation drove him to betrayal. Unmoved, the executioner promised to care for his family, then raised the hammer. The weapon fell swiftly, blood spilled, and silence followed. As the muscular warrior warned of a possible ambush by the Thunder Lion Alliance during their return, Miss Jiang revealing she had already signaled the Nine Heavens Alliance for backup, she opened a box containing 2 glowing pills, offering high-grade recovery items to heal them quickly. Ye Chuan observed the pill's value, surprised by the Nine Heavens Alliance's resources. After consuming the pill, power surged through him. Ye Chuan requested Miss Jiang use her earlier soundwave attack to help improve his movement technique. She confirmed his intent, questioning if he wished to use her skill for training. He explained that Nether Shadow Sweep could only be improved through practice. It was his only movement technique, and without upgrades, he'd be too slow in real combat. Miss Jiang warned him of the danger due to her higher cultivation level. As he prepared, she confirmed his readiness with a confident smile. The elder watched silently, curious to test Ye Chuan's hidden ability under pressure. She activated her zither, launching powerful sound waves across the battlefield. Ye Chuan responded instantly, using Nether Shadow Sweep to dodge each wave. With sharpened reflexes, movement accelerated, adapting rapidly under her precise assault. Ye Chuan pushed forward, body strained but spirit unyielding. Miss Jiang acknowledged his determination and unleashed another wave of sound energy from her instrument. The sonic force surged through the air, striking Ye Chuan repeatedly as he attempted to dodge with sharp movements. With increased pressure, Miss Jiang channeled more spiritual energy into her zither. Dozens of layered waves shot forth in succession, filling the area with overlapping strikes. The elder, watching, grew uneasy. If this continued, Ye Chuan's form blurred as he leaped through wave after wave. Both observers were stunned as he passed the 10th strike and kept moving without faltering. Blood trailed from his arms, yet his eyes remained locked forward. He darted through the barrage, feet skimming the ground with practiced steps. His grip tightened around his weapon, aura sharp as he channeled focus into every move. Without missing a beat, he dashed forward again, pushing speed beyond his limit. Ye Chuan charged directly toward the target, momentum controlled and fierce. A rush of satisfaction surged through him. This was the breakthrough he needed. The system confirmed a skill upgrade. While Miss Jiang exhilarated, Two cloaked figures arrived before Miss Jiang, apologizing for their delay. She calmly reassured them. With their presence as she prepared to depart, she invited Yi Chuan to return with them to the city. Yi Chuan declined politely, stating he had something else to handle first. Miss Jiang accepted his choice, asking him to stay safe and promising a welcome gift upon his return. He watched them leave before turning back into the forest alone. Yi Chuan raced back to the location where treasure had been hidden. He found the golden-scaled soft armor intact and celebrated quietly. Knowing his old armor was broken, he planned to use the material to craft a better one. With the treasure secured, Yi Chuan sprinted toward home with urgency. Upon arrival, he called out joyfully to his parents as he stepped into the courtyard. His expression shifted when he sensed something wrong inside the house. The living room was in disarray. A broken photo of his parents lay shattered on the floor. He realized they were gone, gripped by fear and rage. With burning eyes, he suspected Lu Xing and demanded to know where his parents had been taken. Yi Chuan arrived at the Wealth District estate, his destination clearly marked. They stepped forward, warning him not to trespass. He gave a single command move. The guards froze, their faces pale with fear as they instinctively stepped aside. Inside, a man lounged with two women by the pool. A bottle of wine sat undisturbed nearby. Hearing noise, a swordsman rushed out, gripping dual blades, aiming to intercept the intruder. Before his strike could land, Yi Chuan countered effortlessly, forcing the attacker back in panic. An explosion shattered the entrance. Yi Chuan stepped through, crackling energy trailing behind him. The red-haired man was sent flying, disoriented and struggling to stand. A muscular man stood, furious, demanding to know who dared storm his home. Yi Chuan advanced slowly, smoke swirling as his presence silenced the room. Brother Liu, recognizing him, accused Yi Chuan of killing his men. Yi Chuan remained silent, his gaze unwavering as he closed the distance. He finally spoke, demanding the truth about his missing parents. Liu mocked him, blaming the parents for Yi Chuan's actions and vowing revenge. From the shadows, another figure watched in fear, suspecting Yi Chuan had gone too far. Yi Chuan, gripping his butcher's knife, declared his parents untouchable. Liu's mocking grin vanished the moment he tried to respond. The punch sent Liu flying into a wall. The force cracked the surface behind him. Struggling to stand, Liu recognized the surge in Yi Chuan's aura, climbing Pond Realm. He reassured himself, recalling his recent breakthrough to the 6th rank of the same realm. To assert dominance, Liu began activating a defensive transformation. Fully armored, Liu appeared like a stone giant. His system alert confirmed his enhanced defense and resistance to bladed weapons. Enraged, his son blamed Yi Chuan for forcing his father to use such power. The armored man retaliated immediately, slamming down with powerful force. Yi Chuan activated Knife Shadow Sweep, leaping and slashing with momentum. The armored opponent didn't flinch. With a crushing counterattack, he launched Yi Chuan into the air. The collision with the ground created a deep crater. Yi Chuan was hurt but conscious. The armored man taunted him, stating their strength gap was too wide. Yi Chuan crouched, breathing heavily. A system message confirmed he received 65% reduced damage from pigs. Realizing blades were ineffective, he tightened his grip. The armored man challenged Yi Chuan to strike with his bare fists. Undeterred, shock registered behind the stone helmet as Yi Chuan's punch approached with unexpected force. With his eyes glowing, Yi Chuan slammed a heavy punch into the armored body. A system alert boosted his attack power 5-fold. The armored man cried out, unable to withstand the sheer force of the hit. Yi Chuan followed up immediately, smashing the enemy back with another strike that shattered armor. Blood sprayed as Yi Chuan's blow landed. The system activated Blood Shadow Butcher. His enemy's face twisted in pain, revealing a pig-like appearance under the damage. Yi Chuan demanded answers about his parents, slamming him into the floor with force. Ostander panicked, fearing the armored man might die under Yi Chuan's relentless assault. Another hesitated, torn between helping and preserving his own life. Yi Chuan stood over the broken figure, as it finally revealed his parents were taken elsewhere. Yi Chuan demanded answers after hearing his parents were taken. The trembling man confessed he had gone to retrieve money. As he recalled the figures dressed in black entering the home, the witness pleaded his innocence, explaining he saw Yi Chuan's father arguing with the intruders. Flashes of memory surfaced, a traditional house cloaked in evening silence. He remembered approaching the courtyard as tension filled the air, seeing two cloaked figures blocking the path. A cloaked man with glowing red eyes locked onto the witness with a piercing stare. Suddenly attacked, the man was overwhelmed and knocked unconscious in an instant. When he awoke, Yi Chuan's parents and the assailants had vanished without a trace. Kneeling on the ground, the witness revealed he had found something after their disappearance. Yi Chuan, silent but suspicious, glanced downward as something was handed to him. He stared at the letter addressed to him, unsure of what it contained. Tearing open the envelope, Yi Chuan revealed a handwritten message inside. It was a farewell from his father explaining their departure and long-hidden truths. Clutching the letter, tears streamed down Yi Chuan's face as he recognized the handwriting. Yi Chuan's father comforted his wife, assuring her that their son had grown strong enough to choose his future. He accepted whatever path Yi Chuan would walk, pledging to either support his rise. With a final embrace, he promised they would reunite if Yi Chuan reached the summit of his destiny. As his parents departed, leaving behind only a letter addressed to their son. From above, light bathed the empty courtyard where the boy stood alone. Still gripping the letter, Yi Chuan stared forward. Yi Chuan's friend declared his intent to avenge his father. Fear overtook him as he was reminded of how helpless he was against their enemies. Tears streamed down his face, yet Yi Chuan remained calm. A call came through, interrupting their grief. In a lavish room, the injured cousin answered, surrounded by comfort, but consumed with rage. He cried out, begging for vengeance, claiming someone had nearly killed him. His cousin asked who dared provoke him in Qingcheng. The injured man named Yi Chuan, describing him as just a pig butcher. Eyes glowing red with fury, the cousins swore to settle all their debts with blood. Yi Chuan held a family photo close. With a determined grip, he secured the strange item on his back and turned to leave. A firm declaration formed in his heart he would not stop until he brought them back. As he walked, Yi Chuan reflected on the immense power the black-robed men possessed. He questioned what his parents had done to attract such danger and concluded he needed help. Spotting the Ironheart forge, he was approached by the blacksmith who recognized him. The forge master asked about the knife. He noticed the object on Yi Chuan's back and asked about it. Yi Chuan casually revealed the mysterious golden item in his possession. The blacksmith was shocked, identifying the object as a golden venom spider's leg. Stunned by its rarity, he questioned where Yi Chuan obtained such a treasure. With excitement, he offered to use the item to enchant Yi Chuan's weapon. Yi Chuan stared in confusion after hearing the term enchanting. Unsure how it applied to weaponry, the boar-headed craftsman explained that the golden venom spider held two attributes. Yi Chuan questioned why both couldn't be infused. With a scoff, the craftsman dismissed the idea. In a generous mood, he offered to enchant the blade for free. Yi Chuan selected gold, knowing it increased resale value. The craftsman approved and began the forging. Flames surged as golden metal melted. The enchanted essence flowed with precision into the forge. The golden energy wrapped around the cleaver's frame, saturating it with the new power. After relentless forging, the cleaver emerged, its blade now lined with intricate golden markings. The craftsman remarked that enchantments usually cost hundreds of thousands but gave this one for free. Yi Chuan thanked him. Noting the increased weight in his grip, he asked about the weapon's ability. The craftsman explained that enchantments activate after repeated attacks. Gold attributes, the craftsman added, likely trigger on critical hits. Yi Chuan realized his high crit rate would pair perfectly with the enchantment. He tested the blade, golden arcs flashing as its power began to surge with each strike. A system notification confirmed the gold attribute had been successfully embedded into Yi Chuan's cleaver. Grateful for the help, Yi Chuan expressed his thanks. The blacksmith, having done his part, Yi Chuan departed, soon arriving at the base of the Nine Heavens Alliance. While climbing, he encountered Principal Yi, who was also on site for official academy matters. They exchanged surprise at each other's presence, both seemingly unprepared for the meeting. Principal Yi revealed he came to recommend students for the Alliance. Yi Chuan seemed amused, asking about the selection. He explained that non-combat professions were not suitable and had all been rejected before. Even top candidates like Xu Lingxuan were turned down. Yi Chuan explained he was there for weighted training climbing with equipment. The principal assumed Yi Chuan had reached a bottleneck. Yi Chuan humored him, pretending to agree, then calmly turned away without complaint. As Yi Chuan walked off, the principal called out, asking his current cultivation level. Yi Chuan casually replied he was already at the first rank climbing. Pond Realm shocked, the principal yelled in disbelief. Stunned by Yi Chuan's rapid solo advancement in just days, the principal mentally confirmed Yi Chuan's realm. His internal estimate revealed Yi Chuan likely killed over 100,000 pigs to reach this level so quickly. Yi Chuan stood silently as the principal looked on, struggling to believe the pace of his growth. Suddenly, the principal urgently invited Yi Chuan to join the college entrance tournament. Yi Chuan questioned the offer, aware it was meant for elite combat professionals only. The principal confirmed it, adding that life professions were never considered until now. The principal shouted that Yi Chuan's talent broke expectations and might change the school's fate. He revealed others had failed, but Yi Chuan's rise from obscurity set him apart. Yi Chuan, calm and confident, agreed to the offer without hesitation. Yi Chuan stood firm facing the elder with a clear demand. With his hand raised, he emphasized the amount again, mocking him. The elder dismissed the idea with a non-combat class. Reaching the top 3 was, in his view, impossible. Yi Chuan calmly added another request to storage, type spirit weapon showing boldness beyond his rank. The elder looked stunned. Such items were rare rewards for elite students and not given lightly. Unbothered by rejection, Yi Chuan turned away, prepared to leave if his terms weren't met. Frustrated, the elder gave in. He repeated the condition top 3 or nothing. Yi Chuan accepted, then walked off without hesitation. He arrived at the towering gates of the Nine Heavens Alliance. A guard stopped him, questioning his presence and reminding him that outsiders weren't allowed. Yi Chuan calmly stated his name and purpose. He came to meet Miss Zhang. The guard laughed, not believing someone like him could have such a connection. Suddenly, the doors opened. A woman's voice called Yi Chuan's name. Miss Zhang appeared and greeted him warmly, saying she had been waiting. She led him inside, leaving the guard frozen in stunned silence. From above, Miss Zhang introduced the layout of the Nine Heavens Alliance. She continued the tour, indicating the East Tower as the dining hall and the West Tower as the training grounds. She emphasized that the North Tower also handled missions, rewards. Amazed by the grandeur, Yi Chuan expressed awe at the facility's scale and design. Miss Zhang smiled and welcomed him formally. Before they could proceed, a loud voice interrupted. The man, boisterous and grinning, invited Yi Chuan to visit the lounge for personal indulgence. Suddenly, light erupted as a token was summoned a prepared membership gift. Miss Zhang scolded the man, insisting Yi Chuan just arrived and shouldn't be misled. Inside the North Tower's service area, Miss Zhang's arrival surprised the receptionist. Without hesitation, Miss Zhang requested a black card be issued to Yi Chuan. The receptionist was shocked, unsure if such high-level access should be given to a newcomer. She explained the black card granted unrestricted access across the entire base and questioned the decision. Miss Zhang firmly insisted without elaboration her word was final. Obeying, the receptionist began registration as Yi Chuan officially entered the alliance ranks. The receptionist handed Yi Chuan a black card. Surprised, Yi Chuan questioned the rank. Miss Zhang explained that black cards. She further noted his previous achievements and recruitment status as justification. Yi Chuan's thoughts became erratic, seeing Miss Zhang momentarily as a pig. The older man noticed the tension and quickly interrupted the scene. Yi Chuan stood stiffly, confused by the situation and unsure of what just happened. The older man handed Yi Chuan a gold-plated tube as a reward prepared by Miss Zhang. He explained that this item was far more valuable than any standard newcomer gift. Yi Chuan accepted it and thanked them. Miss Zhang instructed the man to leave. They arrived at a new building. Yi Chuan questioned the location. She led him toward a hot spring, claiming it could help heal his physical condition. Wearing a swimsuit, Miss Zhang entered the spring and urged Yi Chuan to join her for recovery. Yi Chuan stepped into the Nether Demon Spring. A woman already in the spring noticed his injuries. She leaned closer, inspecting the wounds and asking about the cause. The woman expressed gratitude for his help during an earlier encounter involving the Thunder Lion Alliance. Yi Chuan coldly advised her to keep her distance if she truly wanted to repay him. She offered him a small package, suggesting the contents would enhance his cultivation within the spring. Opening the box, Yi Chuan found a black pill. The woman encouraged him to eat it. Suspicious, he questioned the pill's purpose as it resembled something questionable. She gave no answer, only smiling and urging him to try it for himself. Yi Chuan swallowed the pill and noted its taste. Still unsure of its effects, a sudden surge of power erupted from the spring, enveloping both him and the woman. She revealed it was a rare Vajra pill, refined by a top alchemist. She explained the pill would permanently enhance his physical stats beyond normal limits. Yi Chuan's system interface displayed increased strength, constitution, and spirit attributes. As glowing symbols wrapped around his body, a golden shield activated. Yi Chuan stood with glowing inscriptions across his body. He expressed gratitude for her generosity, unsure how to repay her kindness. Zhang explained the difficulty of crafting fire-resistant armor. Yi Chuan questioned their manpower and the odds of success. Zhang replied that the chances were under 10%. He was shocked by the low probability, realizing the risk was near suicidal. He asked why she, a leader of the Nine Heavens Alliance, would risk her life on such a mission. She confessed that as the Alliance head's daughter, she felt pressure to prove herself. Memories of harsh criticisms and being called useless pushed her forward despite doubt. Outside, voices mocked her. Yi Chuan overheard one man criticizing her irrational methods. Yi Chuan reflected that even a leader's daughter faced deep scrutiny among elites. Jiang asked if he was afraid. He responded confidently, stating he was raised to honor promises no matter the danger. Jiang teased him, suggesting he might regret dying without certain experiences. Attempting to seduce him, she offered herself before the looming battle. Yao Chuan rejected the advance and stood up, vowing to stay alive for unfinished goals. Jiang remained in the spring, watching quietly as Yi Chuan left. A sudden surge of energy struck the wall, exposing an eavesdropper nearby. Yi Chuan opened the door and caught Uncle Qian standing there as Jiang walked out. Uncle Qian claimed he came to check on injuries, preparing to leave with a casual excuse. Yi Chuan stopped him, asking for a sparring favor. Qian acknowledged the request but warned that the power gap between them could cause serious harm. Jiang, observing from afar, felt reassured that she had made the right choice investing in Yi Chuan. The scene shifted to the West Tower's training ground where the two men prepared to spar. Yi Chuan reflected quietly, believing only by growing stronger could he reunite with his parents. He instructed Uncle Qian not to hold back as both prepared their weapons. Qian responded with serious intent, gripping his massive hammer and charging forward. Yi Chuan remained focused, his eyes sharp with determination to become stronger. 9 days had passed since the intense sparring began. Standing confidently, a tall woman monitored the scene from a distance. Rather than resting or recovering, they clashed day after day. Weapons collided with electric force as Yi Chuan parried blow after blow. Sparks danced in the air, matching the rhythm of their relentless duel. Without hesitation, the opponent shouted for speed. An opening appeared, the veteran's gaze sharpened, muscles tensing as he prepared to counter. Lifting his hammer overhead, the warrior summoned raw energy. In response, Yi Chuan channeled golden light into his blade. Upon impact, their techniques exploded outward, shaking the arena with violent force. Power surged through Yi Chuan's attack, pressing the opponent downward. Struggling to maintain balance, the older fighter gritted his teeth. His confidence began to slip. A shockwave tore across the ring, pushing spectators back as the clash peaked. Dust clouds scattered while stunned onlookers tried to process what they'd seen. Both fighters remained standing. Despite being a newcomer, Yi Chuan had matched a seasoned warrior in sheer strength. Grinning through the damage, the veteran demanded compensation for his ruined weapon. With a sheepish grin, Yi Chuan apologized to Uncle Chan, though he respected him. Before tensions could rise, Miss Jiang stepped in, her voice cut through the crowd. She arrived, basket in hand, surrounded by onlookers. Despite the damage, Yi Chuan, still shirtless, casually asked what food she'd brought. A glowing screen silently updated his stats. Meanwhile, Uncle Qian lamented the loss of his high-grade weapon. A feast awaited them. Plates of meat and noodles filled the table, leaving both men wide-eyed while eating. Qian admitted the kid had improved drastically. Between bites, Yi Chuan casually mentioned he'd be leaving the next day for an exam. Surprised, both Jiang and Qian asked where he was going. Still chewing, Yi Chuan assured them it was a short trip. Qian, not ready to part ways, begged for more training time. His eagerness hadn't faded. Tension rose, but Jiang calmed the moment. She warned Qian not to pressure Yi Chuan unnecessarily. Offering gentle advice, she wished Yi Chuan safe travels. Her words carried quiet sincerity. The next morning, Yi Chuan stood at the gates behind him. His companions watched in silence. Qian praised Yi Chuan's strength, suggesting it might be time to test him further. She warned that survival from Chutian Valley would be the only true proof of his strength later. At the school gate, students gathered as discussions began to shift with the arrival of someone unexpected. Excitement swept the crowd when Su Lingling appeared. She approached with quiet intensity, eyes locking onto Yi Chuan. Confusion surfaced in her expression as she spotted him among the crowd. Lingling's suspicion grew, her thoughts focused on Yi Chuan's motive for being there. Another student stepped in, accusing Yi Chuan of using tricks to get close to her again. He remained quiet, enduring the comment while tension rose between them. In a sudden outburst, Yi Chuan smashed the wall beside him with a punch. He told the other student off, making his stance clear through both words and action. The girl scoffed, dismissing his behavior as nothing more than attention seeking foolishness. Yi Chuan launched an enemy across the floor with a devastating strike. Nearby, a girl accused Yi Chuan of bullying. Appealing to Jingli for support, Jingli stepped in, criticizing Yi Chuan for constantly showing off. Cracks spread under Yi Chuan as he struggled to resist her aura, refusing to collapse completely. He calmly stated that Principal Zhao had invited him to join the college entrance tournament. Jingli looked shocked, doubting Zhao's decision. To her, Yichuan was nothing more than a weak, unwanted burden. Principal Zhao appeared, confirming he invited Yichuan personally to represent the school. Jingli objected, questioning Yichuan's worth as a teammate. The principal smirked, saying Yichuan's weakness made her shine brighter by contrast. Jingli reluctantly agreed. The reasoning made sense, though she remained irritated. She warned Yichuan not to hold her back and reminded him he was just a replacement. She turned away. The principal told Yichuan not to forget their deal. Yichuan gave a quiet nod, his expression calm. They walked toward the arena. Spectators gathered as the tournament grounds came into view. Another student confirmed their registration. The preliminaries were about to begin. Principal Zhao outlined the tournament rules. Each contestant would draw lots and fight whoever matched their number. Jingli remained silent, listening while observing the crowded arena. Zhao continued winners would stay on the platform to face the next challenger. Zhao added that students from the same school wouldn't be matched in the preliminaries. Our relieved student muttered, grateful he wouldn't be up against Jingli. Zhao explained that losers would get a second chance in another arena. Yichuan stood relaxed, arms behind his head while Jingli stared forward unimpressed. The arena lights ignited, the crowd erupted as the broadcast. Cameras rolled, capturing the grand setup, and all four arenas prepared for battle. A lively host welcomed everyone to the tournament, introducing the participating schools. She emphasized the importance of performance, as scouts from top academies were watching. Confidently, Jingli declared she had already secured her spot with Skyvault Academy. With a flourish, the host announced the start of the first round. Matchups appeared on the arena display, showing Yichuan against a spear cultivator named Liu Kai. Spectators mocked Yichuan's title, Pig Butcher, questioning why someone like him was even competing. Spectators reacted with disbelief at seeing a pig butcher as a contestant. Yichuan stood silently behind Principal Zhao. A female observer defended the school. Another onlooker mocked the school's inconsistency, calling it a mix of weak and strong. Inside the arena, Yichuan and Liu Kai faced each other, their positions set for the match. Liu Kai underestimated Yichuan, openly claiming his victory was already secured. As the match prepared to start, Liu Kai jokingly offered to buy Yichuan food after defeating him. Yichuan responded coldly, his expression shifting into focused determination. The referee raised his hand and announced the start of the first match in Arena 4. Mockery echoed from the stands as Qingcheng Hai was ridiculed for sending a pig butcher to compete. Amid the doubt, Principal Xia Xuan quietly observed the youth, sensing an uncommon presence. Wen Chongwei laughed, amused that someone with a life profession dared to stand among warriors. Backstage, a stern figure pressured Yichuan to prove himself. Electric arcs burst from his spear as he twirled it, radiating raw energy. He stepped into the arena with steady composure, ignoring the stares and whispers. His opponent smirked, planning to show off before delivering a final blow. Across the ring, Yichuan met his gaze with unshaken focus. A hand clamped his shoulder, urging him to stop stalling and fight. Adjusting his stance, he acknowledged the challenge with a calm nod. The spear swept upward as Yichuan dashed forward at full speed. From above, his blade sliced downward, striking the first enemy cleanly. Twisting midair, he delivered a fierce punch into the second man's jaw. Rising kick launched the stunned fighter into the air. With both opponents defeated, the announcer declared Yichuan the winner. Spectators gasped in shock after Yichuan's swift and unexpected victory. A man burst into laughter, declaring Yichuan a god-tier pig butcher. Amid the cheers, Principal Xia Xuan calmly reminded everyone she had seen his potential all along. From another viewing platform, a man lamented Yichuan's life, class limitation. Watching the match replay, he noticed how fluid Yichuan's movements were. The man concluded that such strength couldn't be overlooked, even without combat status. Elsewhere, a woman recalled Yichuan as the clingy, useless boy once pestering her friend. Realization dawned it was him, but her expression remained cold and unimpressed. She dismissed his success, claiming every life. Class challenger eventually failed, including him. In Arena 4, a new match was announced: Firecloud Mage Xiao Jiji versus Pig Butcher Yichuan. Flames danced around Xiao Jiji's fists as he entered the arena. Exuding confidence, Yichuan looked on, surprised, and asked whether his opponent's flaming hands ever hurt. Xiao Jiji snarled in response, appearing as a pig-headed beast in Yichuan's vision. Elsewhere, Principal Wen calmly asserted the fight would soon be over. He explained his student's swift cultivation, reaching 9th rank apprentice in 3 months. A calm hand reached for the tea, signaling an unexpected announcement from Ching Ching's side. Their representative revealed Yi Chuan had already advanced to the third rank climbing Pond Realm. Wen Chongwei reacted in disbelief, only to hear Yi Chuan declared the winner once again. As Yi Chuan stood over his defeated opponent, astonishment spread across the arena. Wen Chongwei questioned how someone so new could demonstrate such overwhelming strength. Elsewhere, another match concluded, and speculation grew about Ching Cheng's rising placement. Spectators reflected on Yi Chuan's performance, realizing they had underestimated his school. Principal Xia Xuan interrupted, urging others not to speak too soon. Another match was announced as two new opponents took their positions. The blue-haired fighter dismissed her opponent's plea for mercy. Commentators debated whether the young girl was ready for the stage. With a determined look, the child stood as a seed contestant prepared to fight. As the battle is announced, Xu Lingshuan steps forward with composed focus. Watching from her throne, the noblewoman casts a sharp glance at Lingshuan. Energy gathers around the girl's feet as she prepares her technique. A chill sweeps through the arena. Snow begins to fall unnaturally, drawing puzzled stares from the spectators. In a flash, Lingshuan launches her attack. Her blade cuts through the space between them with freezing force. Thrown back by the strike, the red-haired girl collapses mid-air. Lingshuan lands without a scratch. Nearby, observers scoff to them. The match seems like a one-sided display. Without warning, a second fighter steps forward. His eyes burn with intent. Dark energy pulses from his body as muscles expand violently. He roars, declaring his entry, the berserker form now fully awakened. Lingshuan recoils at the transformation. Disgust twists across her face, charging forward. The giant crashes through the floor with brute force. She lifts her blade, timing her defense carefully. Their clash shakes the arena, her stance falters under his weight. Despite her efforts, the strike forces her backward, tumbling midair. She struggles to regain control as debris falls around her. Lingshuan crashes to the ground, surrounded by rubble, not far off. The berserker lifts a massive boulder overhead with ease. Without hesitation, he hurls the rock toward her. Lingshuan dashes forward. She shouts the name of her next move. Multiple spectral copies of herself, ice phantoms, burst forth and encircle her opponent from every side. The berserker hesitates as the phantoms close in. Bone Clone lunges as he turns to strike it. Lingshuan closes the gap with a direct assault. Her sword pierces into his side, drawing blood. Her strike lands cleanly. She sneers in triumph, believing the tide has turned in her favor. Frost rapidly spreads from the wound. His arm begins freezing over. Ice climbing up his shoulder, Lingshuan stands ready, confident that full paralysis is inevitable once the ice covers him. However, his brother yells in warning. The warrior breaks the frost with one swing. Grinning, shock overtakes Lingshuan's expression. She can't understand how he's still moving. The realization hits he's using blood heat to melt the ice from within. A brutal counterstrike lands on her face. Blood sprays as she stumbles, dazed from the blow. Spectators erupt as they sense Xu Lingshuan is losing. Pinned and bloodied, Lingshuan collapses beneath the berserker's fist, overwhelmed and desperate. From the distance, Yi Chuan silently watches. His calm applause breaks the tension, signaling a shift.